Welcome back. Hello, hello, hello. So I have to take my vitamins again. I didn't take them yet. This one is triple magnesium. Oh, I splashed myself in the face. And this one is my CoQ10. So I apologize for not having taken those before I went live. It's always kind of like, I have to do this, I have to do that. I'm not totally running around harried, but it can be a little difficult to get every single little thing done before I hit go live. So the cards that I will be using today, that I've been using this week, is the new tarot, and it's a very cool deck because it is very open to interpretation. So the deck was originally created in the 70s, but this is a reprint from the 1990s. And honestly, I'd rather have a reprint deck because I feel like they might last longer. Trying to keep paper nice that's been around since the 70s is a huge pain in the butt. So I had used this, I think last week also. This is a little vial of natron that has been mixed with ashes from some spells that I was editing. I think this was from some versions of the threefold baptism I was working through. So I powdered those and put them into this. It was like a mini Nutella jar, and I put it in there with natron, which is basically like soda ash, and it has the same purifying qualities as salt. And I'm just going to take a little pinch of this, not even that much, and just kind of sprinkle it around. It's very powerful stuff. You don't need that much. And that's going to clear and cleanse the space. So let's get started with, we're doing the earth signs today. So this is going to be Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Capricorn, like that. And if you would, we're going to start with the sign of Taurus. And Taurus, if you would like, just simply allow anything about what you'd like insight to rise to the forefront of your thoughts. And let it kind of float there and wait for us to address these things. So if you find anything about these issues stressful, or if you are feeling anxious, you can just kind of gently breathe through that. Inhale and allow the divine white light of source to filter through your entire body, from the crown of your head down through the soles of your feet. And then, as you exhale, just sigh out any tension or stress that you might have been holding. And it will return to source and be transmuted. Taurus, you have a lot of major arcana in your reading this week. So what that means is that, let me make sure I write down. Okay, 5. Okay. So what that means is that there could be a lot of life changes coming in for you at this particular juncture in your life. The significator, the place of the significator, for example, we have 2 very good major arcana cards crossing each other. So I'll get to that momentarily, but I just wanted to preface your reading by saying that. So let's start back here in the past. We have the 7 of Swords in the reverse. Now, in this particular deck, the 7 of Swords is more about this climb, this almost Sisyphean effort that you're having to put in. These swords are not contained properly. They could be stabbing into this person as they climb. They could be unwieldy and difficult to carry, and this is a very steep slope. So because this card is in the past and it is in the reverse, it is likely that you have overcome recently some very difficult obstacles. So here in the place of the significator, we have the Star card, and that's a really good card to get, Taurus. The Star card is all about coming into your own in social groups, social settings, maybe even becoming famous. The Star card is about hopes and dreams being achieved, not just coming true, but the work that you have put into these situations paying off. And this is crossed by the Empress card. So the Empress card is ruled by the planet Venus, and because of that can be associated with your sign Taurus, or can be associated with the sign of Libra, because both of you are ruled by the planet Venus as well. So, as I was mentioning, all of your hard work and perseverance paying off. The Empress card represents this long building process for a project. It's not a project that happens overnight. This is something that, like pregnancy, like growing crops, like all of these very passive forms of fertility, alchemically speaking, obviously, pregnancy doesn't seem like a very passive thing to do. That this has been something developing over a long period of time that you've been nurturing and putting a lot of energy and effort into, and could be related to this effort, this intense amount of effort that you've been having to put in. So down here in the MMCLI, I like to pretend, sorry about that smacking noise. I know some people have misophonia. Very sorry about that. So I like to pretend that there is a 12 houses wheel laid out on top of my Celtic cross spread. And down here in the MMCLI, that's the cusp of the third and fourth houses. And that is all of the origins of the situation, and the foundations upon which the future will develop. And down here we have the Queen of Pentacles in the reverse. We can tell that this is the Queen. She's sitting on a throne. She also is ruled by the planet Venus. And she has these two circles up here. And in this particular deck, this kind of checkered motif is used for the pentacle court cards, basically. So she's showing up here in the reverse. The Queen of Pentacles is very similar to the Empress card, right? But what we're seeing here with this card in the reverse is that there is a potential for a fertile proliferation in regards to financial resources that has not yet been tapped into. So it could be that you are waiting for this to pay off, for this project to provide you with some resources in return for all of the work that you've put in. We have a few sixes, a couple of sixes in the reverse here in the your opinion and outside opinions positions. So from your perspective, we have the Six of Pentacles. This represents money flowing, resources flowing between people. So in this particular case, we have this nun, and she's standing in the doorway of a convent, and it looks as though she is taking these disadvantaged children under her wing. You can tell they have these ragged clothes on. Whether or not they are truly orphaned, they certainly have fallen on very hard times. And so she is taking them in and going to foster them there at the convent. And in return, at some point, perhaps one or both of them might join the order. But that's not really the point. The point is that she's taking them in because it's the right thing to do, and they have enough resources to foster these children there at the convent. Now, this card is in reverse, so you could be at this time relying on the resources of others. You could be borrowing money. There's nothing wrong with that. You could be pulling out investments, cashing out savings accounts, things like that, because you are waiting for this money to come in. Over here in the outside perspective, we have the other six, which is the Six of Wands. And the Six of Wands is about a victory. It is coming into a time of abundance and not having to exert oneself so much. And we can see this figure here who has all these garlands of flowers overhead, garlands of flowers on their head, holding garlands of flowers wrapped around their arms. It's a very idyllic kind of a scene. So again, the potential for this exists. But in the current state of affairs, I think people can see, the people around you can see that your victory is nigh, but it has not yet come. So let's look now, Taurus, at the future. So here in the future, Taurus, we have the Page of Pentacles. And the Page of Pentacles here, you can see that the pentacle is this huge frame, this threshold through which this person is passing. This is the same artwork that is here on the box. You could almost interpret this as the Magician or the Fool card as well. But in this particular case, the Page of Pentacles in the upright in the future can represent a new job opportunity or a new opportunity for unlocking these resources. That the money will be coming soon. There will be an offer coming soon. And that is going to open up the threshold of this new opportunity. This could also be the Ace of Pentacles. As I mentioned, this deck is really open to interpretation. So I like to, rather than try to focus too much on figuring out exactly what card I'm pulling, I like to interpret it in very loose terms according to all of the cards and possibilities that it could be. Here in the hopes and fears, we have the Hanged Man. So Taurus, I think that you are probably worried, concerned that you will be stuck in the same loops that you have been. You might be worried that you are sacrificing a lot and not getting a lot of payout at this time. And that you don't necessarily anymore have the resources to be sacrificing energy, money, or both. So here in the midheaven, so this is going to be the destiny of the situation. It's going to be in opposition to the MMC lie down here, where we had the Queen of Pentacles in the reverse. Up here in the midheaven, we do have the Nine of Pentacles. And this does represent financial freedom and stability. The lifestyle of leisure that you are craving. This does provide a good foil, of course, to what your opinion of the current situation is. And it is in the upright. So I always say that nothing I say in these readings is going to supersede the importance of your free will. And that's absolutely true. But when we have future position cards appearing and they are in the upright, that is a much more predestined energy. It could also indicate that the current and past events have already set up for this to happen. Now, the final outcome card for you, Taurus. It's a little bit scary, but I wouldn't worry about it too much. We do have the Tower card, and it's showing up in the upright. Now, I say don't be too worried, because honestly, sometimes things have to be cleared out of the way in order for new energies to come in. And I think that is exactly what is going to happen for you, Taurus. Chronologically speaking, it could be this first, then the Tower, and then the Nine of Pentacles. It could also be that this destructive change comes first, then the Page of Pentacles or the Ace of Pentacles is opened up, and that leads the pathway to the Nine of Pentacles. Whatever the case may be, this Tower card is meant to be a disruptive force in the current flow of energies, such that it is going to open up more possibilities for you in the future, Taurus. So don't worry too much about that. So that is going to conclude the Taurus reading for this week. And after I have completed this Earth Signs live stream, we have 2 more signs to go. I will be headed over to, I'll be headed over to the member side of the channel, and I'm going to do an extended. For the extendeds, I do crystal scrying. And so this week I'm using this very beautiful, very flashy labradorite palm stone. And you are cordially invited, but your presence is appreciated in whatever form it takes. All right, so next we are going to do the sign of Virgo. And Virgo, if you would, while I shuffle your cards, just allow any thoughts, any ideas, any issues about which you'd like clarity and guidance from the tarot. Allow those things to float up to the forefront of your thoughts and just gently linger there while we wait. And if these things are stressful for you, I invite you to gently breathe through them. And as you inhale, just allow the divine white light of Source to filter down through the crown of your head, down through your entire body, through the soles of your feet, and into the earth below. And then, as you exhale, just sigh out any tension or stress that is associated with that particular situation, or that you simply do not want to carry around with you anymore. Just allow it to return back to Source, and it will be transmuted. All right, so Virgo, let's write down your timestamp. And nothing too amiss here, nothing too crazy. We will just jump right in. Here in the past for you, Virgo, we do have the Two of Pentacles. So we can see this could be a milkmaid, could be an alchemist. This person has these 2 vessels that if they were to try to dispense the liquid themselves between the 2 vessels, that it would be very difficult to pour it smoothly. So it's a little bit like the Temperance card in this deck. But instead, what they've done is set up this system where they have the one flask sitting on this tripod down here, and the other flask is elevated so that all they have to do is tip the 2 toward each other, and the fluid moves smoothly between the 2 from one into the other. So this could be something that you have been working on in your own life, Virgo. That this could be some kind of alchemical process in which you are balancing things out, striving for equilibrium in your chemical processes and homeostasis in your biological ones. It's an important clarification to make. You don't want all of these systems within your body to reach equilibrium. So let's move into the place of the significator now. And this card did kind of jump out of the deck at me. And it is the Nine of Wands in the reverse. So you've been guarding something very carefully. You can see that this cauldron full of fire is behind this wall of wands. And we're not quite sure exactly what's in the cauldron, but we do have a few hints up here. We've got this skull. We have some herbs. It could be that some kind of magical potion is being brewed here. And it has been important to guard that. And we see that here, that there could have been these alchemical processes being undertaken, starting in the past and moving into the present. But that at this time, they're not being as closely guarded anymore. And this is crossed by the Ten of Cups. The Ten of Cups is a card of emotional satiety. This can be starting a family or establishing a family. It can be having a good home. It can be contentment within a relationship, a partnership, a friendship. Even if you live in a house and you have roommates or you live with family, that it's a very content and happy place to live. You might feel like it is safe for you to open up that part of yourself at this time, Virgo. Down here in the MMC lie, so I like to imagine that I have 12 houses wheel laid out on top of my Celtic cross spread. And down here at the bottom, the cusp of the third and fourth houses is the MMC lie. And that represents the origins and foundations upon which the destiny up here in the midheaven will be built. So down here we have the Hierophant. This is fellow earth sign Taurus's card. We do see the figure here. We have this idea of government and order, the far left and the far right, kind of balanced in between by this person who acts as an intermediary between the higher power and the people at large. Down here we see all these machinations that are tied up in organized religion. So this card can very much represent the status quo. And it can represent prevailing attitudes and somewhat polarities as well. And I say that because we've come into a time and place where we are in a very polarized environment. And it's been orchestrated to be that way. So we see that here on this card with the Hierophant. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you, Virgo, are a very polarized person. In fact, Virgos probably are less likely to be very polarized, depending on where Virgo is in your chart. From your perspective, we have another 2 showing up. And this is the 2 of Cups. So It could be that you feel like a relationship is falling apart. This could be a love relationship, but it could just represent the way that you feel closeness with other people. In the context of what I've said about the Hierophant card, too, it could just be an idea that there's a prevailing environment of divisiveness that is driving people apart. So it doesn't even necessarily have to do with you in particular or your love relationships. It could just be the feeling that people at this time are more likely to find reasons to fight with each other than find reasons to get along. From an outsider's perspective, we have the Queen of Wands. So this could be how people see you, Virgo. And the Queen of Wands, I am Leo sun sign and Virgo rising. So being seen as the Queen of Wands, I perceive to be one of the more favorable perceptions you could have of another person. Queen of Wands would be aligned with fire sign energy. The Queen of Wands is someone who's very charming. They could be very charismatic. They're the kind of person who the party doesn't start until they get there. And they have a way of making the people around them enjoy the time that they're having. So that is a very favorable way to be perceived at this time. The Queen of Wands, especially in the upright, so that is going to be water of fire energy. So that's a very good combination of oppositional forces as well, that you are bringing together these polarized attributes in a non-polarized way. Let's look now at the future. So Virgo, for you in the future, we have the Capricorn card, which is the Devil. Now this card is showing up in the reverse, and that means that there is the potential for this in the future, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's what's going to take place. The Devil is all of the things that control us. Now, some of these things we have more control over than others. This is things like compulsions, could be addictions. It can also be about disease. And even poverty mindset could be associated with the energy of the Devil as well. It could be in the future you end up conquering these things, not just for yourself, but I very much get an impression here that these are things that you are trying to bring to other people, that you're trying to improve the quality of life for those around you and not just yourself. But that improving, this is one thing that people, I think, have not realized enough in this day and age, and that is that in order to improve your own way of life significantly, it is crucial to improve everyone else's way of life as well, because that is what creates a sustainable community. It doesn't do you any good to have billions and billions of dollars if you live in the middle of a toxic wasteland. But I digress. So here, in the place of your hopes and fears, we have the Seven of Wands. And this person is on a tightrope. They're trying to balance, but the tightrope is very slack. So that means it's going to be swaying a lot back and forth. It's going to be very difficult to stay on this wobbly piece of rope strung up between these flimsy tripods. It is an insecure place. It is a vantage point, but it is not very secure. So, at this particular time, you could be afraid that your position is flimsy, that it is not secure. Let's see what else we have here, Virgo. So up here in the midheaven position, we have the Five of Swords, and it is showing up reversed. Now, what is happening here is that these people are down below, and this gentleman who has the vantage point of the castle is heating up a cauldron full of boiling oil to dump down on them. They might have their swords raised, but there's very little that they're going to be able to do about this if they don't move. So it could be that you're being urged to action at this time, that you have come to a point where you are now at the castle wall, but all you are armed with are these swords, and somebody is getting ready to dump boiling oil on your head. It could also be that exists as a potential situation, because this is in the reverse, but that the alternative to that is that perhaps this is something that you've already overcome. So if we look at it in terms of what we have down here in the Imam Silai, remember we have this Hierophant, which is the 5 card. And I was interpreting this in terms of how polarity is used to control people. You might be breaking well out of that, Virgo, and you might be taking a lot of people with you. And perhaps this boiling oil that you're getting ready to dump on people's heads is enlightenment and truth and the potential for a better and less polarized way of life. Because, of course, the way that you spread these things is not through aggression. That is why polarization works so well, because it feeds that aggression. Non-polarization, which I need to find a better word to use there, because obviously that just makes it polarized to polarization, right? But this way of divining the middle path, so that's kind of what we talk about when we're talking about like the middle pillar exercise between mercy and severity, right? That would be non-polarizing. That would be a good exercise to be doing at this time. And similar things to that. But it does take action. And that's what we see here. This is the Knight of Wands. This is fire of fire energy. So while we have to avoid being polarized, we also need to be putting a lot of energy into getting the message out there. Not to pick sides, not to have opinions. And by doing that, not falling prey to our lesser parts. That is another aspect of the devil here. It's not falling prey to your own baser instincts. Virgo, your reading today has been quite a journey, and I feel like it goes much further than just you. So good luck. Good luck. Good luck. I will be doing the extended after I read for Capricorn for Earth sign general energy side of the channel, and I'll be using this beautiful labradorite balm stone. So you are cordially invited, but your presence is appreciated in whatever form you grant it. So next we will be moving on to the sign of Capricorn. And Capricorn, if you would like to just allow any thoughts, issues, anything you'd like to get, anything you'd like to come up in the tarot reading, rather, that you'd like insight, that's the word I was looking for. If you would like insight into anything in particular, just allow those thoughts to float gently up to the forefront of your mind and let them just kind of float there and wait there patiently while I lay out the spread. And if you find any of these things stressful or troubling, throwing cards at me, are you? Just breathe in and imagine your entire body filling, very gently, of course, from the crown of your head down through the soles of your feet into the ground below. Imagine it filling with the divine white light of Source. And then as you exhale, just allow any tension or stress, any of those physical discomforts that are no longer serving you, just allow them to leave your body through your breath and float right back to Source, where they can be transmuted. So now I'm going to write down your timestamp here. Hi, Moimim. I haven't seen you in a while. Thank you for coming. So, Capricorn, let's start here in the past. We have the 10 of Wands, and this is a very scary kind of a card indeed. Oh, I'll probably be wearing gloves in the Friday videos. In the live streams, it's a little difficult for me to have the dexterity to work with the cards while I'm wearing leather gloves. The 10 of Wands can be about burdens. It is Saturn in Sagittarius energy. So we have that grounding and establishing, solidifying energy of the planet Saturn. Kind of pushing back against that Sagittarius energy where we're trying to expand, we're trying to grow. We see here someone who is all chained up and ready to be set on fire. And this card is showing up in the upright in the past position for you. So you might be coming through a situation, Capricorn, where you feel like you're all set up on the gallows, waiting for the drop, that you have a lot of burdens, and that you are carrying a lot of baggage with you into the current situation for whatever reason. This is a general reading, so of course, for everyone, it's going to be slightly different. So here in the current situation, we do have the Judgment card. So in some ways, this Judgment card could be bringing relief from this situation, right? What we have here is this group of people kind of performing a ritual to maintain the balance of the universe and also to elevate everyone involved. Now, not everyone involved is capable of putting in the same amount of effort. We have here some small children. We have some people who look like they might be more young and fit than others. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed that video. And all together, they're working on raising the vibration. So that would be an excellent way for you, Capricorn, to combat these feelings of being burdened. The crossing card for the significator is the High Priestess. The High Priestess holds secret knowledge. Here she is about to take a bite of a fruit, perhaps, or perhaps she is scrying. The High Priestess is also an oracle. Somebody who, in a solitary way, has communion with the higher power to spread messages. The High Priestess is not like the Hierophant, in that the Hierophant is acting more as an employee of the higher power, whereas the High Priestess has her own agency, sets her own schedule a lot of times, and is channeling oracular messages on a more intimate basis, probably more like one-on-one with advisors, possibly someone like the Hierophant. So you could understand this alchemical process. You might even be orchestrating that process among a group of people, probably not a very large group, but it could be a handful of people with whom you are kind of orchestrating this process of enlightenment and elevation. So let's look down here in the MMC lie. I like to imagine that I have a 12 houses wheel laid out on my Celtic cross spread. And down here in the cusp of the third and fourth houses in the MMC lie, we're looking at the origins and foundations of what will occur up here in the midheaven, in the goal or destiny position. And indeed, the card that we have showing up in the MMC lie for you today, Capricorn, is the Magician. And the Magician is showing up in the reverse. So the Magician has mastery over all the four elements, the four tools of the minor arcana. We have the wands, the chalices, pentacles, swords. He is also very close to divinity. We have this divine white light depicted here. We also have this kind of infinity symbol over his head. Well, I really shouldn't make assumptions about this person's gender. Someone can have a beard and still be non-binary. So where this is showing up in the reverse, it could be that you're trying very hard to manifest something and are not yet seeing that result. You're not yet seeing signs that what you are trying to manifest is coming to pass. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It just means that it hasn't happened yet. We see that echoed over here in your perspective on the situation, where we have the Two of Wands. The Two of Wands is very much about passions, like we see these two people engaged in here. But it can also be about your vision boards. It can be about planning processes. It can be about law of attraction or manifestation exercises. And those can be magical processes, or they can be more like a pop psychology type practice as well, depending on your own personal beliefs and systems. From an outside perspective, we do see the Four of Swords in the reverse. The Four of Swords, we see this person possibly paying homage to their fallen comrades, to their fellow soldiers who have fallen in battle. They themselves have laid down their sword and are taking time for quiet contemplation, rest, and rejuvenation. Now, because this card is in the reverse, and we're looking at other people's perspectives on your situation, people see that you're very busy at this time and that you might not be taking the time to take proper care of yourself. Be mindful of that. Now, I don't necessarily see that as being the case, but it would be a good opportunity if you have people around you who care about you to ask for their help. Can you help me make sure to eat? Can you help me make sure that I go to bed at a certain time? And of course, you shouldn't overly rely on accountability buddies, but this would be a good time to set up some of those support systems. Here in the future, Capricorn, we have one of the blank cards in the deck. So there are two blank cards. One of them is all white, this one, and then there is another one that is all black. Now, the wonderful thing about the card that is all white is you can literally put anything here that you want. It is not just a void, it is a blank slate. Oh, I just thought they were really cool in the videos. Like, the texture is really nice. And I actually, I don't like to grow my nails out, but I have recently, and I also chew on my cuticles. So by wearing the gloves in videos, I don't have to confront issues regarding my nails or my cuticles. So that was why I originally started doing it, to be quite blunt. But the future for you right now, Capricorn, is a blank slate. In the realm of your hopes and fears, we do have another major arcana card, and a very dramatic one at that, which is the Death card. Now, this is appearing upright. You are hoping for transformation and for change. One thing that I really like about this Death card is that the skeleton has this orb right here that it's holding on to. It almost looks like the skeleton is pregnant. And that brings in all kinds of possibilities for the future. What kind of children does Death have? Is it the Four Horsemen? Or is it the dawning of a new era? The choice, I guess, is humanity's. And that could be what you're hoping for, that kind of powerful transformational change. We do see that in the place of the significator with this Judgment card. So Capricorn, up here in the midheaven, So this is going to be in opposition to what we saw in the MMCLI, which was this Magician card in the reverse. Remember that the Magician, as indicated by his staff, the Magician is associated with the planet Mercury. And by that proxy and correspondence, also associated with Gemini, which is an air sign, and fellow Earth sign of Virgo. Now, Mercury is associated with the element of air. And we do have here the Queen of Swords. She speaks the truth. She speaks her truth, even if other people are hurt by it. It is a way of cutting through the infidelity and injustice in the world. Now, not because it hurts other people. We do have her showing up in the upright, not in the reverse. The Queen of Swords in the reverse is a very terrifying force indeed. But in the upright, she is terrifying only to those who seek to harm others with lies, deceit, or they might not even seek. Now, let me back up a minute. They might not even seek to harm others, but they think that by doing these things, they benefit themselves, even if it is very dishonest. So you might find, Capricorn, that the destiny of this manifestation is that you are going to have to speak the truth on something. This isn't the King of Swords, and we're not talking about the Justice card. So those are similar energies, right? And that does have to do with the truth coming out and with justice being served. But in this particular case, with the Queen of Swords, we're talking about your personal truth and that being made public. Now, also remember that in the crossing card for the current situation, we do have the High Priestess. So there could be a lot of secrets that need to come out in order to bring this manifestation into fruition. And that could be the key that unlocks everything. Now, Capricorn, the final outcome card for your reading this week. We have the Five of Wands. On this particular card, it looks as though all of these people are engaged in shoveling this pile of what could be dirt. It could also be a fertilizer made by animals, like manure. And it looks as though they're trying to spread that around. Now, on the one hand, that could create a very fertile environment for creativity and for growth and prosperity. But on the other hand, it can also be this kind of catty infighting and just kind of shoveling BS around, right? So it depends on how you view this activity. All of these people are pretty much at the same level, right? They're all engaged in this task equally. And they are all also trying to do their part to improve the situation. So it is a little bit like what we were seeing here with the Judgment card. However, this card showing up in the reverse in the final outcome position, if you had been currently in a situation where you were kind of among all of these people taking part in similar tasks, you might be leaving that behind. That might be part of your manifestation. And don't forget, too, the very initial energy that we came into this reading with. Now, this Ten of Wands, even though it is a very dire circumstance, It is an ending. It is an ending to this cycle and the beginning of a new one. And part of that might be leaving all of these people behind. All right, Capricorn, thank you for joining me for your reading today. I will be headed over to the members side of the channel to do the extended crystal scrying forecast for the earth signs this week. I want to thank each and every one of you who has come out to the live stream today. Your presence is so greatly appreciated. I want to thank all of you who watch my streams later. I want to thank my lovely mods. And I look forward to seeing you again very soon.